Welcome back to the channel, where myth, history, and meaning collide. Today, we're cracking open one of the most mysterious stones ever carved by human hands. A granite riddle standing tall in the Swedish countryside. A 9th century enigma that speaks of kings, giants, gods, and forgotten wars. This is the story of the Rök Stone. Nearly 4 meters tall and covered on 5 sides with runes. The Rök Stone isn't just a monument. It's a message across time, a declaration of memory, of power, of legacy, and of mystery. The inscription begins simply enough. A father, Varin, honors his dead son, Vemod, but it quickly spirals into something far more complex. Mythic allusions, legendary kings, puzzling kennings, references to heroes and histories that were already ancient when the stone was carved. This isn't just grief, it's mythology, politics, identity. 12 spoils taken from 12 men, 20 kings in battle on the island of Zealand, a giant crushed by a warrior, a wife's sacrifice, a man who still sits on horseback 9 generations later. That last one? That's Theoderic the Great, the Ostrogothic king from the 5th century, a Christian no less. And yet here he is, immortalized on a pagan runestone. Why? Because in 801 AD, Charlemagne moved his equestrian statue from Ravenna to Aachen, and the Norse noticed. This tells us something important. The Rök Stone isn't some backwoods relic. It was part of a connected, literate, and politically aware world. Varin, the man who carved it, knew what he was doing. The Rök Stone isn't just about what it says. It's about how it says it. Alliteration, cryptic metaphors, secret runes, riddles nested inside riddles. This isn't storytelling. This is poetic warfare. Varin may have been a tholer, a kind of lore keeper, a man whose job was to remember and recite the knowledge of the gods, the ancestors, and the land. And what he carved wasn't a casual message. It was a test, a performance. The message on the Rök Stone was designed to be understood only by those with the right training, the right memory, the right cultural keys. It was encoded oral tradition in stone. But for all its depth, it raises more questions than answers. Is the mention of Thor actually about the god? Is Velen a reference to Odin's brother Vili? Who is the giant? What was the wife's sacrifice? And why does a supposedly pagan stone put a Christian king at its center? This is where the study of Norse religion gets tricky, because the word religion didn't even exist in Norse culture. They didn't talk about faith. They talked about custom. Forn cedar, the old ways. Heiden cedar, the heathen ways. To them, religion wasn't a set of beliefs. It was action, ritual, memory. That's why converting to Christianity wasn't called finding faith. It was called sida skipti, a change in custom. This distinction matters, because it reframes how we study the old gods, the myths, the runes. Instead of asking what they believed, we should ask what they did, how they worshipped, how they remembered, how they passed down power through stories and rituals. And here's the thing. There wasn't one Norse religion. There were many. Different clans, different regions, different centuries. Some practices dated back to the Bronze Age. Others showed up right before Christianity swept in. The Rök Stone was part of that living system. It blended oral tradition with written symbols, myth with memory, pagan with political. It was hybrid, and it was intentional. This stone wasn't just about honoring a son. It was about power, control over history, control over legacy. By carving it in such complex language, Varin was claiming a kind of mastery over story, over identity, over time itself, because only those who knew the codes could unlock the story. The Rök Stone is a ritual object, a mnemonic device, a history book, a riddle, a tombstone, and a time capsule all in one. And that's why it matters. It shows us that pre-Christian Scandinavia wasn't just howling warriors and burning boats. It was literate, symbolic, deeply tied to memory and place. The past wasn't just remembered, it was weaponized. Every carving on that stone was a choice, a statement, a line drawn in mythic granite. This wasn't faith the way we think of it. This was ancestral knowledge embedded in stone. And even now, more than 1,000 years later, we still haven't cracked all of it. Maybe we never will. Maybe that's the point. Thanks for watching. If you dig history with depth, myth with muscle, and stories carved in stone, hit subscribe and drop a comment below. Because out here, we don't forget the old ways. We read them.